And, I got heat on Twitter from some, Democrats and some blue voters who get really upset at me each time I criticize the Democratic Party, right? I really was just so disgusted by that comment where Joe Biden said, "Oh, there's some rational Republicans." I'm like, Lord, and I said something, if I remember, on Twitter, where we need fighters. These Democrats just aren't built for this moment. And I believe that. And people are like, well, what do you expect him to do? Do you expect him just to shame them and bully them? And he needs them. And I'm like, listen, you're never going to get them. They're openly plotting a coup. They literally tried to kill Mike Pence. You think they're going to save you after they tried to kill Mike Pence? No. Right? Secondly, look at what Republicans do when they're in power. They don't give an F. They don't care. This is what I respect about Republicans. They don't give a shit. They will bum rush a tax cut. It's unpopular, but their donors, the same donors that you talked about, said, you better give us this tax cut or else. Don't expect a check from us. That's what Senator Lindsey Graham openly admitted. He said, they literally told us, don't come back to us unless you pass it. So they said, F you, America. We don't care if it's unpopular. We're going to bum rush this $1.9 trillion tax cut in the dead of the night. I'm Donald Trump. I don't give a shit about decorum. I'm going to mock and ridicule everyone, even people in my own party. I'm going to mock their wives. I'm going to mock their fathers. I'm going to spread conspiracy theories. I'm going to be chummy to Kim Jong-un. My kids are going to get rich. I'm going to promote lies. And I'm just going to say, executive authority. And I'm going to call it a national emergency. And I'm going to divert billions of dollars from the military to a wall that's not going to be built because my base wants it. They don't give a shit. And so there's so much that Democrats can still do. There's so much that Biden can still do through his executive authority and through his bully pulpit, right? Just try it. Nothing else has worked. And people say, well, we have to be nice to them. We have to be bipartisan. We have to be adults. No, you need to be a fighter for democracy. I need brawlers for democracy. You don't have to be unethical. You don't have to break the law. You don't. I'm not asking you to. But I need you to fight. I need you to recognize the enemy, call it out. We still haven't done that, Danielle, which is also why it pissed me off.
Which is fascinating.
It's like, literally McConnell and Republicans are like, Democrats, liberals, and all Democratic voters are Satan-worshipping pedophiles. Yep. And Democrats are like, yeah, you're a rational actor. I just have to talk to you and maybe we could do gun reform. And then Mitch McConnell's like, I'm going to kill you and your child. And you're like, maybe if I just give him lemonade, he'll only kill one of my children. No, I'm going to kill all of them. Maybe he'll spare my wife. Kill your wife first. And like, that's a rational actor, right? And so I sit here and I get more and more upset because the institutions are failing us. The elected officials are failing us. We're running out of time. I feel like I see the comet in the sky. I feel like people are overwhelmed with inflation, with high prices, through disinformation, through apathy. And America learns the hard way. And this is the beginning of Pride Month. You mentioned Roe v. Wade. They're going to overturn it probably this month. That's probably what's going to happen.
It's not probably, but yes.
Yes. And then what are they coming after next? This is what they're coming after next, ladies and gentlemen. They're coming after birth control because they said it, and I take them literally and seriously. And then they're coming after marriage equality, even though a Gallup poll came out today that said 71% of Americans believe that there should be, same-sex marriage in this country, or there should be a right to same-sex marriage equality. They don't give a shit. 70% of Americans also believe that there should be Roe v. Wade. They don't care. And so they're going to go after marriage equality. Then they're going to go after Lawrence, which decriminalized basically gay sex, male gay sex. Yes. And why not? They might even go after Brown versus Board of Education. Some of them don't like that. They don't like loving. Mike Brown, senator, said he doesn't like loving. So if any of you are biracial or your parents are of different mixed races, sucks to be you. And so we have all of this. And with this, Danielle, and I try to be honest on this podcast. I'm the optimist. I'm still an optimist, but my father, I mentioned this in my book, my father, he came here in 1966 after the 1965 Immigration Nationality Act. And when he came here, he said, bro, this country was like just wild. Like there were race riots, this country went to Nixon. We were like, what's happening? He survived that. He survived as an immigrant. You come here, you try your best, you create your community, you get the racism. My parents have gone to jail. They've come out of jail. They've been poor. They've made money. They survived the war on terror, the Bush years. During the past 2 years is the first time my father, who's a man now in his 70s, has openly and almost on a bi-weekly basis calls me up and says, Beta, which means son, we really have to think of other countries. I'm an old man. I won't make it, but for your kids. And I'm like, oh, no, we'll stay. But then increasingly, Danielle, and we were mentioning this before the recording, I had this conversation with my wife just yesterday. And I've been doing it more and more. I'm like, where are we going to go? And she first thought I was kidding. And she goes, wow, you're really serious about this? I'm like, listen, I'm kind of serious about at least having a conversation, because I'm trying to love a country that doesn't love me back. And I know Republicans. I know what's going to happen when they get in power, right? And so just in case, where's our escape plan? Canada, New Zealand, Portugal? Like, what do we do? And my wife thought about it and she goes, I can't help it. I'm too much of a patriot. I want to stay here and fight. I'm like, I do too. And inshallah we will. But I think it's smart to think of an escape plan just in case. And I know for a fact, Danielle, I'm not the only one. And we're not the only household talking like this.
You know, I am also a fighter. I am also a person that has pledged their career and their life to the perfection of this very imperfect union. I have worked on Capitol Hill. I have worked for movement organizations and believe that my ancestors had blood spilled. Bones are buried, right, on top of these marbled monuments to whiteness. And I have said that I will fight until it is no longer safe for me to be here. Meaning that I see New York, where I am, as having, at least New York City, as having, you know, let it be like the levees, right? Around it. And until I see that those begin to crumble and I'm not even safe in this state, then I will leave. And I've been having the same conversations with my family. My family is from Jamaica, came to the United States in the 1970s. I feel like none of them were paying attention to the news of what was going on with Black people in this country when they decided to come here. But you know, I have been having these conversations with my family because my parents are roughly around the same age as yours. And they are saying, you know, Danielle, initially a couple of years ago during the 2016 election, they thought that I was being hyperbolic, right? Yeah. We will make it through. We've made it through other bad presidents. I recently, a couple of weeks ago, said to my mother, you know, we may have to think about, and I've never wanted to sell our family home. We may have to think about selling because we may need that money in order to resettle someplace else. And I said, and I just want to put that thought into your head now because we're going to need to have a backup plan. And do you know what my very rational mother said? I think that that's a good idea. We are not crazy. And this is the point of Democracy-ish. This is the point of these weekly conversations. It is to remind all of our listeners and ourselves that we are seeing the writing on the wall. There are reasons why there were people that were fleeing Germany, right? When they had the time, because they knew what was coming. They could see and feel the energy shifting on the ground, and that they realized that there was a finite window of time that they had in order to get to safety. I think that we all need to wake the fuck up and realize there is only so much that we, the people, can do when those that we have placed in power have decided to wield that power against us. And when they are increasingly, as Republicans are, linking themselves to violence and echoing violent theories, such as the replacement theory, which is nothing other than white people should rule over everything and everyone. And
also what they believe, specifically with the latest data that came out with about 65%, is they believe that Democrats are bringing in, quote unquote, immigrants to replace white folks. They believe this. So yes. We are the enemy.
And why do they believe that? It's because it's being continually taught to them via Fox News. What is the Democratic establishment? What has the Biden administration done to target Fox News for misinformation and for being an enemy of the state? Not a fucking thing. They actually continue to invite them to the correspondence dinner. Oh, ha, ha, ha. Let's make jokes because, you know, it's so light and fun over there at Fox News. They're the reason why there were gallows that were built on the steps of the Capitol building. They're the reason why you had police officers beat and are still suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. But we are making light of what it is that Fox News is sharing with its tens of millions of listeners, as opposed to making it one of the staples of the Democratic Party, that in order for us to have free and fair elections, we need to have information that is not about jostling up a base of people that have more AR-15s than they do fucking sense. And so this doesn't crumble just because Republicans are evil, bad people. It crumbles because, to your point, we have no warriors.